of us are upset. Some of us are outraged. After months and months of making it crystal clear to our lawmakers that SB 17 is a racist, anti-Asian bill, they still chose to ignore our voices. Last Thursday, the House Committee on Homeland Security advanced SB 17, and it is now headed to the House floor for a vote. Let's be absolutely clear. This bill is racist. This bill is anti-Asian. SB 17 will strip away the rights of thousands of Texas residents, people who are here legally, simply because of their country of origin. It'll expose them to racial profiling, housing discrimination, and even the terrible possibility of having their property seized. This bill doesn't protect Texans, it targets them. And this bill revives a shameful chapter in American history when Asian immigrants were banned from owning land. We have defeated these hateful laws before, and we will not stand by and allow them to return under a new name. Now, the backers of SB 17 want to pretend that this is about national security. That is a lie. People that are fleeing from countries to live here, searching for a better life, should not be subject to laws that work against them. This bill makes no exceptions for people here legally, either on student visas, H-1B workers, asylum seekers. And in fact, it makes the bill even worse than when it was first introduced. Now the Attorney General has the power to investigate and seize property. This opens the door to even more constitutional violations and, frankly, blatant government outreach. This bill is about fear, it's about division, it's about targeting Asian American, Middle Eastern, and immigrant communities, and sending a message that no matter how hard you work, no matter how long you've lived here, and no matter what you contribute to this country, you are never going to be seen as fully American. So we are here to say, we see through this, we will not be silent, and we will not allow racism to be written into Texas law. We are asking our lawmakers, vote no on SB 17, or be remembered as the ones who stood on the wrong side of history. So I have today a lot of colleagues, friends, and folks that are really upset about what this bill is going to do if it was enacted in law. First, I'd like to introduce Harris County Commissioner Precinct 4, Commissioner Lesley Briones.
Thank you, Nabila. Thank you to all the partners today, and thank you, Mr. Lee, for hosting us. I'm Lesley Briones, and I'm grateful to be serving as your Harris County Commissioner for Precinct 4. We are standing in Precinct 4 right now, in the heart of Chinatown, one of the huge economic drivers in our community. And I stand here in solidarity because SB 17 is un-American, it's unconstitutional, and it's unjust. This law targets members of our Asian American community in a way that is unconstitutional. It is stripping rights that individuals have had for decades and is taking us back to the 1800s, removing these vital property rights. These are individuals who have come to our country legally because they believe in the promise of the United States of America, because they believe in the American dream and the opportunity that is inherent in this great country. This law, SB 17, undermines the American dream. It undermines the very moral fabric of what we should stand for as Americans. Harris County is one of the largest economic hubs, not only in Texas, but in the United States. So to have a law that would take our neighbors' rights away, that would have a law where the Attorney General could essentially unilaterally take the property, is unconstitutional because it undermines due process and again takes us back to a legal regime from the 1800s. takes us back to the Chinese Exclusion Act, takes us back to the days of internment camps. This is not what we stand for. This is a land of opportunity. This is bad for business. It is bad for our economy, but most importantly, it is bad for justice. And I am a proud native Texan. And I'm raising 3 little girls as proud Texans. But Texas, we deserve better. We do not stand for hate. We do not stand for discrimination. We do not stand for unjust, unconstitutional laws. On the contrary, we should be leading for the right reasons. And so I ask, as somebody who represents one of the largest concentration of AAPI community members in the entire southern region in the United States, I proudly represent the AAPI community. I proudly stand with the community. And rest assured, for all who are listening, even if you are not one of our Asian American brothers and sisters, any undermining of one of our community members' rights undermines all of our rights. What's not to say that the next country to be added to the list is Mexico, where my ancestors come from, or El Salvador, or any of the number of countries that all of us collectively as Texans and United States citizens came from. I hope that lawmakers will do the right thing and that this bill will die. Because what needs to live is the very moral fabric of this great country. Texas, we deserve better. We urge you to vote against this bill and stand up for justice, constitutionality, and the fundamental equality of all of our community members. Thank you.
I'm going to invite next Alice Chen. She is the Mayor Pro Tem from the City of Stafford. Thank you.
Good morning. First, I want to thank you, Labina, Mr. Lee, and everybody, my brother, sister here. Stand with me. Strong against SB 17. You heard the detail. Labina give you all the detail about what is the SB 17. This bill is unconstitutional and also discriminatory. It targets individuals based solely on their national origin. In other words, people are being targeted and their rights are being taken away, not because something they did, it's because where they come from. Moreover, this bill is threatening the protections granted by both U.S. Constitution and the Texas Constitution. It's also discouraging foreign investment and talent from coming to Texas, which can lead to lost jobs and economic opportunity for all of us. This bill also promotes discrimination against Asian and immigrant community. I am first immigrant in this country, but now I'm a proud Texan. You know, we need to make a strong statement here. We must unite to say no to SB 17, and it is urgent because they are voting right now in Austin right now. We need to work together to ensure that our voice are heard. Together, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, we can make a difference. Equality for all, hate for none. Because many people watching this online, allow me to say a few words in Chinese. 各位亲爱的华人同胞们，我们今天在这里强烈抗议 SB 17，反对这个对华人歧视的法案。SB 17是一个明显带有种族歧视的法案，和其他有特定主义的标签化，剥夺他们应有的权利，不仅是对华人社区直接伤害，而且是对美国宪法精神的严重背离。各位，我们所有的华人同胞，在这个土地上， 我们生活，我们工作，我们纳税，我们贡献社会，我们今天是因为我们的背景、我们的出身被怀疑、被驳斥、被不公平的待遇。SB 17用国籍作为判断的标准，用你皮肤的颜色来决定你能不能买房地产，这是明显的错误的方式对待亚裔，尤其对我们华人移民，这是赤裸裸的种族歧视。种族歧视，各位，我今天站出来，不仅是为了我们自己，为了所有的相信正义跟公正的人。我首先要感谢我们的德州 State Representative 金武 ，fighting so hard for the past 2 months. Well, all this year, Mr. 金武 ，thank you so much for your fight in Austin. 我 also 要谢谢所有华人在这过去的3个月，不断的到 Austin 做听证会，去联合集体抗议。我们在 Austin、Dallas、Houston 联合做一个抗议会，还有现在正在 Austin 许多的华人同胞到各个的议员办公室去访问，打电话去抗议。我们不能够接受这个不公平待遇。华人同胞们，这个关键的时刻，我们一定要团结起来，要抗议这项对华人不公平的待遇。记得一件事情 ：Equality for all, hate for none. Thank you.
I'm going to invite now Dr. Sergio Lira from LULAC.
And good afternoon. I'm Dr. Sergio Lira, President of Greater Houston LULAC. You know, since January the 25th, I've been extremely busy. My phone has just been blowing up from so many folks concerned about this culture of hate. This culture of hate is targeting primarily 2 large groups who are brothers and sisters, neighbors. We attend the same churches. We have similar values. We educate each other, responsible, to be respectful, to be professional, to live the American dream, because we are a nation of immigrants. But now this culture of hate is being codified into laws, and they're targeting 2 particular groups: the Latinos with mass deportation. My brothers and sisters in my community are living in fear, have gone into the shadows of the community. And next, the Asian American community, by codifying laws that are clearly based on race, and that is called racial discrimination. LULAC has fought for 96 years against these types of laws, these types of policies, and together we stand in solidarity with our brothers and sisters. All of a sudden, we come to this country, our parents, our brothers and sisters, to live the American dream, to prosper, to provide jobs, to help the economy, to contribute to the tax rolls, to the tax coffers, so everyone can have a good quality of life. But now that we're successful and doing what's right, they want to shut the door and say, hey, no, we're going to ban that. We don't want you to do that. Why? It's not because we don't play together. It's because of a racial identity, strictly based on race. And we must stand together, because if we do not, history will repeat itself. And let me tell you, the only Latina anthropologist at U of H told me when I asked her, how can the rise of a totalitarian government happen in history throughout the world in different countries? She said, because the previous generation has forgotten their history. But today, we will not forget our history. We stand in solidarity with our Asian brothers and sisters, AAPI community, Asian American Pacific Islanders, we stand in solidarity with them. We stand and we will not be silent. God bless each one of you. God bless America.
Next, we're going to invite Eileen Hong. She is with the Texas Multicultural Advocacy Coalition.
Thanks, Nabila, for having me here. Good morning, community leaders and the media reporters. My name is Eileen, and I am here to represent the TMAC, Texas Multicultural Advocacy Coalition, to express my deep concern regarding Texas Senate Bill 17 and House Bill 17. On April 24th, the House Homeland Security Committee passed SB 17, and it has since been merged with HB 17 into a new committee substitute for SB 17. Under the new committee substitute for SB 17, starting September 1, 2025, foreign workers and professionals, international students, as well as scholars on H-1B, L-1, F-1, or J-1 visas would be prohibited from purchasing a home and owning any land in Texas. This legislation could significantly discourage people, particularly those who are in Asian descent, from relocating to or remaining in Texas, contributing to a climate of exclusion and fear. This bill is deeply alarming step backwards, reminiscent of the Discriminant Chinese Exclusion Act. It targets individuals based solely on their national origin and immigration status, which is unacceptable in a diverse and inclusive society. The bill requires an individual to be domiciled in Texas in order to purchase property. Under U.S. immigration law, individuals on temporary visas such as H-1B, L-1 foreign workers, F-1 students, and J-1 visa scholars are still considered domiciled in their home country, in the country of origin, even if they pay taxes as resident alien here. A legal visa holder has no way to show has already established a permanent home when he has not become an actual permanent resident. On average, one stay on temporary visa for 10 to 12 years till they are granted a green card for permanent resident. Denying legal visa holders purchase real property will push talent and corporates away. SB 17 harmed Texas economic. Texas has long prided itself on a business-friendly environment that encourages innovation and competition. However, SB 17 has a negative impact on the Texas economic and competitiveness. But banning property ownership by foreign individuals and companies disrupt the commercial, individual, residential market. It discourages investment in Texas and drives away entrepreneurs and talents, costing Texas jobs and economic growth. Excessive regulation would slow down transactions, increase costs, and make Texas less competitive. We understand national security is important. However, the federal government already oversees and regulates foreign land transactions, making this bill unnecessary. Committee on Foreign Investment in the U.S. and Foreign Investment Risk Review Modernization Act of 2018 restrict the land purchases near military bases and sensitive infrastructure for all foreign entities, without targeting specific nationalities. And the Texas legislature has already passed the Lone Star Infrastructure Protection Act in 2021 that addresses many of the same concerns. SB 17 is unfairly targeting individuals from specific countries, reinforcing existing social biases, particularly against Chinese foreign nationals. The bill falsely equates individuals with government and will punish individuals who may have no political affiliation in their former or current countries. The bill will provide discrimination against the Asian and immigrant community, People will give bias by appearance. SB 17 violates the 14th Amendment, the Texas Constitution Act, and the Fair Housing Act by targeting individuals based on national origin, resembling past alien land laws and policies, which Texas repealed in 1965 to encourage investment and deter discrimination. I urge all the lawmakers to vote no to SB 17. Thank you.
Next, I'd like to call Nilofer Hafizi. She is with Engage Action.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Nilofer Hafizi, and I'm proud to be the policy manager at Engage Action, a C4 that advocates for the Muslim American community, another community that knows all too well what it's like to suddenly have your civil rights stripped, not because of what you've done, but only because of who you are. Who you are in America is supposed to be something that is celebrated. This is supposed to be a country where you can be both Chinese and American, both Iranian and American, both Latino and American, and be proud of both identities. Unfortunately, HB 17 and SB 17 would only lead to racial profiling and destroy this concept of celebrating who we are in all our hyphenated forms. I'm also proud to be a member of the Iranian American community, a community that is at its second largest in the U.S. within Texas. Houston, where we are right now, has over 100,000 Iranian Americans who are proud to call Texas home. Back in Iran, people save for years and years to have the chance to send their family members abroad. And this is how we want to welcome them in Texas. Just like Asian Americans across the board, we are not people who are here to act on behalf of a foreign government, and we do not deserve to have that government we came from affect our opportunities within Texas. Just like other AAPIs, Iranian Americans are restaurant owners, doctors, lawyers, engineers, even civil servants. No one deserves to be racially profiled and mistreated because of factors outside of their control. But HB 17 and SB 17's authors don't seem to understand that, even though we have again and again come to the table in good faith to explain why this bill is discriminatory, to explain why this bill contravenes the Texas and U.S. constitutions, to explain, even out of self-interest for Texas, the economic impact HB 17 and SB 17 would have if they went into law. We've told our lawmakers over and over again that states that have passed similar laws have been sued. Well, we will not stop making these points with our lawmakers, and it's time now for them to hear us. You still have a chance to do the right thing and make HB 17 and SB 17 laws that are in the back burner, that are not passed, and stand up instead for the rights of all Texans. We will still be here as community members and voters, and we are watching what you do. So please, take this last few weeks of the legislative session and decide to stand on the side of justice. Thank you.
Thank you, Nilofer. Next, we have Dustin Reinders from Texas Civil Rights Project.
Thank you very much. My name is Dustin Reinders, and I'm the legal director of the Texas Civil Rights Project. We stand in solidarity with everyone here today. HB 17 represents intentional discrimination. It is designed to sow hatred against immigrant communities. It represents the politics of fear and mistrust that divide us, that make us look at one another as other and not see brother and sister and neighbor, but to see the enemy. We reject these politics and we reject this bill. This bill is unconstitutional discrimination. The Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment requires government to treat all people as individuals rather than classify them based on race or national origin. HB 17 does exactly that. It says that you cannot buy land if you're from a certain country. We might hear them say that the bill does not discriminate based on national origin because it says domiciled in one of these countries rather than from one of these countries. That's hogwash. We all know discrimination when we see it. The bill also encourages private discrimination. We know closing on real estate deals is a complicated and risky process. Sellers will not want to go under contract with a buyer from one of these countries, or even a person that they do not think is from one of these countries, because the deal could blow up. The impact is obvious. Asian Texans and Muslim Texans will pay higher prices for real estate than people from other countries. Again, that's discrimination. And if it's not bad enough, the law creates a state jail felony for knowingly buying land while being domiciled in one of these countries. People could go to jail for buying their kid a condo to live in while they study in a graduate program at one of Houston's great universities. That's not right. Asian and Muslim Texans already face serious discrimination in their daily lives. This bill adds to that discrimination and gives it the government stamp of approval. That's why we stand with you all here today and across Texas to reject HB 17. Please call your representatives. It's not too late. Let's stop this thing.
I'm going to invite Mr. Wei Li from Southern News Group.
Welcome to International Management District. Ladies and gentlemen, I must tell the story. 26 years ago, when I moved in this piece of property, it was a dirt. Across the street, the Hong Kong Mall, it's just empty space. But today, because all this our immigrant come in this country, we build this community. Ladies and gentlemen, I hate to say that. Today, we are facing the most serious challenge for Asian American, especially Chinese community. So we must stand up united. See, look at on this district. I really appreciate Commissioner give us a lot of help. We are booming. We're building the bank. We're building the shopping center. It's 100% filled out on Bel Air Boulevard. But today, we're facing threats. If this bill passes, a lot of Asian Chinese will not come to Houston. They're going to hurt our economy. This is a very serious matter. So all the Chinese Asians need to stand out united, say no to this bill, because this is our country. Thank you.
Next is Gary Nakamura with JACL.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Gary Nakamura. I'm the National Vice President for the Japanese American Citizens League, otherwise known as JACL. We are the oldest and largest Asian American civil rights organization in the country, founded in 1929. We have about 100 chapters spread across 27 states. As Dr. Sergio Lira mentioned a few minutes ago, Dr. Lira, LULAC, JACL and LULAC actually was formed in the same year, and we have been working hand in hand for the past 9 decades. I'm here today because this particular law at this particular junction may not affect me as a Japanese American, a person of Japanese ancestry, but I'm here to remind our lawmakers what happens when you don't learn from history. My own father, my late father, who was a highly decorated World War II U.S. Army veteran who volunteered from a camp while being incarcerated with his entire family after being kicked out of the state of California and put into a camp in the desolate Arizona desert. He volunteered for the U.S. Army to prove his loyalty to the country of his birth. Why was our community put into camps, into mass incarceration camps? Over 125,000 people of Japanese ancestry, 2/3 of whom were American-born U.S. citizens, were put into camp because of the color of our skin and the country where our ancestors came from. It's a slippery slope, right? It starts with land laws like this. My late grandparents could not own land in the state of California because of the original set of alien land laws that were introduced in the early 1900s, targeting immigrants from Japan and immigrants from China. And then it's a slippery slope because then you basically create a second tier of citizenship, right? We were not looked upon as equal to the majority of American citizens, and we're therefore very easy targets to round up and put into incarceration camps. So I implore you, state lawmakers, you have the power and authority to stop this kind of highly racist and discriminatory bill from becoming law. Please do the right thing. Please learn from history, and do not let our state, our great state of Texas, make the biggest mistake by repeating the ugly history that we have to live with in this country. Thank you.
Our last speaker is Debbie Chen from OCA Greater Houston.
Good morning. I'm Debbie Chen with OCA Greater Houston. belong to OCA, which is a network across the country. We're the second oldest civil rights advocacy organization in the Asian American community. As I listen to all the speakers and I reflect back on the weeks and weeks of efforts made by people in our community, right? Going to Austin, speaking at the different hearings. One of the hearings went all the way to almost midnight, filled with concerned Americans, right? Not just AAPIs, people from all across the spectrum. And I'm reminded that, I am a child of immigrants. I was born here, but my parents came here due to the immigration laws that changed in the 60s that allowed for educated people who wanted to come and get a higher education, right? They were encouraged to come from around the world. The laws were changed specifically for that purpose, so that America could bring the best and the brightest here. I remember as a child, my parents telling me that was actually the smartest thing of the policymakers in our government to do. Think about it. All these other countries spend and invest all this money and energy and time to nurture future generations, K through 12 education, through college, and then America wants those best and brightest to come here for graduate school, and the majority stay because America is the land of opportunity, right? My parents' generation, so many people stayed to have jobs, to eventually own small businesses. A lot of people just started out with owning a small business because they were not able to get a job in regular corporate America, facing essentially discrimination. And so a lot of people opened small businesses and built things from scratch. Texas was one of those destinations, right? Most people traditionally will think of, everybody, go to California or the East Coast, right? But Texas, especially in the 70s and 80s, was a huge land of opportunity and we welcomed people to come here and help us build and grow communities. The entire Chinatown, Asiatown area used to be literally cows grazing on grassland, right? When I first came here with my parents, I was amazed. It was the first time I'd seen, cows live grazing on land. And now I don't even know how far out you would have to drive to be able to see that, because it's just all small businesses and residential built by immigrant communities. SB 17 ends all of that. SB 17 essentially says all that effort, we don't care. It wasn't worth anything. There's no value because you came from the wrong country. Even though you may have come here as a graduate student, you may have come here as a refugee, right? You came here and you were willing to work hard and pull yourself up from the bootstraps to build something, to make a life for your family, for your communities. That is worthless simply because of where you came from. That's what SB 17 says. It devalues the effort of regular people just trying to make a living and build a life. Texas, the 59th legislature recognized that the old way of doing things, the old anti-alien land laws were wrong and repealed it in 1965. SB 17 is about basically making the same mistake and repeating history. I urge everyone to vote no to SB 17. We made the right choice in 1965 with the 59th Texas legislature. Let us not make that mistake again and be on the right side of history. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us today at our press conference. At this time, are there any questions? We will all be here for a few minutes, so if anyone has any questions, please feel free to come up to us and ask them. We'd be happy to answer them. Thank you so much. I hope you have a good rest of the day.